All right, so for today's deep dive, we're going to switch things up a bit.
Oh, interesting.
We're diving into the world of English language learning.
Okay.
And our source material is a YouTube video.
Yeah, I know, right? Who knew you could learn a language on YouTube these days?
I mean, it's pretty amazing how accessible language learning has become.
Yeah, forget those dusty textbooks.
All right, now you can learn,
Learn a new language from your couch.
yeah.
But I think this shift to online learning does bring up some interesting questions.
Yeah, definitely.
About, like, teaching methods, how effective they are.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to explore today.
Okay, great.
So let's imagine you're trying to learn English.
Okay.
And you come across a YouTube channel called English Podcast Zone.
Okay.
They claim to help you master conversational English.
Right.
And you find yourself clicking on an episode titled Learn English Quickly with Podcast English Learning Conversation, Episode 1.
All right.
So that's where we're diving in.
We're putting this YouTube video under the microscope. It's exactly analyzing how they attempt to teach English. This could give us some real insights into not just the effectiveness of their methods,
Right.
but also the common challenges that English language learners face.
And maybe we'll even learn a thing or two ourselves.
You never know.
So in the video, we meet the hosts, Marco and Erica.
Okay.
And they jump right into their teaching style, which revolves around common and often embarrassing everyday situations.
We've all been there.
Right. Those awkward moments where you just wish you could disappear.
That's actually a really smart approach, I think, from a teaching perspective.
Yeah.
You know, learning language in context, especially in situations that you might actually experience, is way more engaging.
Right.
Way more memorable than just memorizing vocabulary lists.
Totally.
It's learning by doing, but in a safe virtual environment.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so to illustrate this, Marco and Erica present a scenario.
Okay.
Nick runs into Anna, someone he met at a conference the week before. But here's the kicker. He's completely blanked on her name.
Classic. Happens to the best of us.
Right.
Especially in a professional setting.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, talk about a universal experience.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the perfect setup for Marco and Erica to introduce some key language takeaways.
Okay, good.
First up is, in a bit of a hurry.
Okay.
They offer practical examples like, can you drive faster? I'm in a bit of a hurry. Or, I can't talk right now. I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Right, those situations where time is of the essence.
Exactly.
I think it's interesting how they demonstrate the versatility of the phrase.
Yeah.
The meaning stays consistent, limited time, but the tone can be adapted depending on the situation.
Right.
From casual to more urgent.
So true, so true.
Yeah.
Okay, next they dive into contact details.
All right.
All those crucial bits of information you find on a business card.
Oh, okay.
Name, number, email, all that stuff.
So business cards aren't dead after all.
I guess not.
Okay.
They really stress how important it is to have those details so people can get in touch with you.
It's not just about learning those individual words in isolation, though, right?
Right.
Marco and Erica are showing how these words function in a real-world context.
Right.
They're giving learners the tools to actually use these words in a real conversation.
Absolutely. That's key.
Yeah.
And finally, they tackle the phrase, slipped my mind,
Okay.
which essentially means forgetting something unintentionally. For example, I'm sorry I forgot to respond to your email. It just slipped my mind.
Okay, so slipped my mind is definitely a common phrase.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, could there be a potential cultural element at play here?
Interesting.
Is it considered more acceptable in some cultures to use this type of excuse for forgetfulness than in others?
That's a really good point.
It would have been interesting if Marco and Erica had touched upon those nuances.
Yeah, sometimes those cultural differences can really trip you up when you're learning a new language.
For sure.
But I think so far, Marco and Erica are doing a decent job of breaking down these phrases
I agree.
and giving viewers some solid building blocks for conversation.
Yeah, but let's see if they go beyond just individual words and delve into more complex sentence structures or grammar rules.
Okay.
After all, fluency isn't just about knowing a bunch of words.
Right.
It's about understanding how to put them together correctly.
That's true. They do, actually.
Okay, good.
They move on to phrases that can really help boost your fluency.
Okay.
Starting with around here. Now, on the surface, it seems simple enough. It just means nearby or in the vicinity, right?
Right, but then they show how even subtle changes to this phrase can completely change its meaning.
Oh, interesting.
So they point out that around the corner specifically refers to something on a nearby street,
Okay.
while around there is more general, like Los Angeles is a great city. I used to live around there.
That is so interesting. I never thought about the nuances of around like that before.
It's a great illustration of how prepositions in English can be so tricky, even for more advanced learners.
Yeah.
It's not always intuitive where to use which preposition.
Prepositions are definitely my nemesis.
I feel that.
But Marco and Erica make it seem a little less daunting.
Right.
Okay, so they also tackle the phrase terrible with, meaning you're bad at something.
Okay.
And get this, they use examples like terrible with numbers, terrible with directions, and even terrible with faces.
Oh, so relatable.
Right.
And funny, which I think is important when you're learning a language.
Absolutely.
You don't want it to feel like a chore.
I'm terrible with faces.
Me too.
I've been in those awkward situations more times than I can count.
Oh, for sure.
But you know what I really appreciate?
What's that?
The way they connect these phrases back to the original scenario with Nick and Anna.
Oh,
It's not just about learning random phrases.
Yeah.
It's about seeing how those phrases can be used in a real conversation.
that connection is crucial
Yes.
for making the learning stick.
Yeah.
It's like they're providing a roadmap for how to use these phrases in your own life,
Exactly.
showing you how to navigate those potentially awkward situations and come out on top.
I love it.
But let's see how they take things to the next level with their Fluency Builder segment.
Okay.
I'm curious to see how they approach taking those basic phrases and making them sound more natural, like something a native speaker would say.
Exactly. That's what I'm curious about, too.
All right, let's dive in.
Let's do it. So we've seen how Marco and Erica introduce these useful phrases, but how do they actually help learners put them into practice?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, that's where their Fluency Builder segment comes in.
Okay, this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Fluency isn't just about vocabulary.
Right.
It's about sounding natural and confident.
For sure.
So let's see how they tackle this.
Well, they start by focusing on the greeting, how's it going,
Okay.
as a more casual alternative to how are you. It seems like a small change, but it can make a big difference in how you come across.
Wow, how are you? Is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If it can sound a little formal, especially in casual settings,
Right.
how's it going?
Right.
Has kind of like a more relaxed, friendly vibe.
Yeah.
But isn't there a risk of sounding too informal
Oh,
in certain situations?
true.
Maybe they should have addressed the different levels of formality.
That's a good point. It's like they're assuming everyone wants to sound super casual all the time.
Yeah.
To add a personal touch, Marco shares an anecdote about forgetting a family member's name at a reunion.
Oh, no.
Talk about awkward.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
I have totally done that.
I once blanked on the name of a colleague
Oh my gosh.
I worked with for years.
Oh, that's so bad.
It was mortifying.
Yeah, it's the worst.
But you know, these anecdotes do show that
Yeah,
even native speakers make mistakes,
right.
which can be really reassuring for learners.
Totally. It takes the pressure off
Yeah.
and makes the whole learning process feel less intimidating.
Sure.
But forgetting names aside, Marco and Erica also offer some practical tips for navigating those awkward situations.
Okay, love that.
Where your mind goes blank.
While a dialogue replay is useful, perhaps they could have included interactive quizzes or role-playing scenarios
Ooh, interesting.
for more engaging assessment.
Yeah.
It would encourage active participation
Right.
and give learners a chance to apply what they've learned in a more hands-on way.
That's a really good idea. It would make the learning experience more interactive
Yeah.
and fun.
Definitely.
But, okay, back to those tips.
Right.
They suggest asking for a business card or having someone write down their email address.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah.
It's all about finding ways to keep the conversation flowing smoothly,
Right.
even when you hit a snag.
Exactly. Resourcefulness over panic.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the vocabulary, the fluency tips,
Huh.
the awkward anecdotes. Now I'm curious to see how it all comes together in the final dialogue.
Me too.
Well, to wrap things up, Marco and Erica replay the original dialogue at natural speed.
Okay.
It's like a little test to see if you can follow along and understand everything. After learning all those key phrases and vocabulary,
Right.
it's a reminder that language learning isn't just about understanding individual words.
No.
It's about putting them all together and using them in a real-world context.
I agree. The dialogue replay is a good way to assess comprehension
Yeah.
and reinforce what's been learned. It would have been even more effective, though, if they had offered a transcript
Oh, interesting.
of the dialogue for learners to refer to.
Yeah,
This would allow them to see the words written down,
right.
which can be really helpful for visual learners.
You're right. Having a transcript would make it so much easier to follow along,
Yeah,
especially for those who are still getting comfortable with spoken English.
absolutely.
But even without a transcript, the dialogue replay serves as a good reminder. That fluency is as much about confidence and the ability to navigate real-world interactions as it is about grammatical accuracy.
Well said.
Now, after that dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
the episode isn't actually over just yet.
Oh, there's more.
Marco and Erica have one last segment
Okay.
they call the English Pod Audio Review.
Okay.
It seems like they're really trying to cover all the bases and appeal to different learning styles.
An audio review. Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Yeah, what exactly does this audio review entail?
Essentially, they walk you through a series of those key vocabulary words and phrases we talked about earlier.
Right.
First, they provide the definition. Then you get a chance to practice saying the word out loud.
Okay.
And finally, you hear the word or phrase used in a sentence.
Oh, cool.
It's a classic repetition and reinforcement technique.
So they're really trying to drill those words and phrases into your memory.
Yeah,
Do they cover everything they talked about in the episode?
Pretty much. They go through around here, around the corner, in a bit of a hurry, contact details, slip my mind, and terrible with.
Wow, it's like a rapid-fire vocab boot camp.
It is.
I like it. It seems like a good way to make sure everything really sinks in, but is just repeating words enough to actually remember them.
Well, that's where the science of spaced repetition comes in.
Oh, interesting.
This technique involves revisiting information at increasing intervals,
Okay.
which has been shown to significantly improve long-term retention.
Really?
So by including this audio review,
Yeah.
Marco and Erica are actually tapping into a proven memory technique,
That's so cool.
whether they realize it or not.
I'm always fascinated by how different learning techniques
Yeah.
can actually be backed by scientific evidence. It's
Wow.
not just random trial and error. There's a real method to the madness.
Exactly.
So after this review, do they just sign off, or do they leave viewers with something to think about?
Before signing off, they encourage viewers to check out our website for more resources and to leave comments or questions.
Oh, good idea.
It's a smart strategy for building a community
Yeah.
around their channel and fostering a sense of engagement.
I see what they're doing. They're not just presenting a one-off lesson.
Right.
They're trying to create a space where learners can connect with each other
Yeah.
and continue the learning process beyond the video itself.
It's like they're building an online language learning hub.
Totally.
It's not just about watching a video. It's about becoming part of a learning community.
I love that.
And that's what really stood out to me about this whole episode.
Yeah.
It's more than just a dry language lesson.
Right.
Marco and Erica are trying to create a welcoming and supportive environment where learners can feel comfortable making mistakes and asking questions.
It's really refreshing to see that
Yeah,
language learning can be so intimidating, especially for beginners.
absolutely.
But by injecting humor and sharing their own relatable experiences,
Right.
Marco and Erica make it seem less daunting
Yeah,
and more approachable.
for sure.
It's like they're saying, hey, we've all been there, and it's okay to make mistakes. We're all in this together.
Right. They even explicitly emphasize the importance of not being afraid to make mistakes.
Yes.
They assure viewers that everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers.
Right.
It's a really important message to convey
It is.
because the fear of making mistakes can be paralyzing for language learners.
Oh, totally.
But embracing those mistakes as part of the learning process can be incredibly liberating.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive into this YouTube English lesson, we've analyzed their teaching methods, explored the specific language they covered,
Right.
and even uncovered some underlying messages about the language learning journey itself.
It's been fascinating.
It really has.
But what does it all mean for you,
Yeah.
our listener? What are the key takeaways from this exploration?
I think this episode really highlights the incredible array of resources available to language learners today.
It's true.
Yeah.
From YouTube and podcasts to online courses and language exchange apps,
Yeah.
the opportunities are endless
They are.
and easily accessible.
Yeah, it really is amazing how much the world of language learning has changed.
Right.
Like, gone are the days of relying solely on textbooks
Yeah.
and classroom instruction. Now, anyone with an internet connection can access a wealth of resources,
So true.
learn at their own pace, and connect with a global community of learners.
It's truly empowering.
It is.
This shift towards online learning, I think,
Yeah.
really opens up so many possibilities for tailoring the experience to individual needs and preferences.
Exactly.
Whether you're a visual learner who thrives on seeing words written down, or an auditory learner who prefers listening to podcasts, or even a kinesthetic learner who enjoys interactive exercises.
Right.
There's something out there for everyone.
Absolutely. But even with all these amazing resources at our fingertips, I think it's important to remember that language learning isn't just about passively consuming information.
No. Definitely not.
It's about actively engaging with the language.
For sure.
Practicing speaking and listening. And yes, even making those inevitable mistakes along the way.
Couldn't agree more. It's about embracing the messiness of the process.
Yeah.
And understanding that mistakes are not failures.
Right.
But rather valuable learning opportunities.
Exactly.
Each time you stumble, you're actually getting closer to fluency.
I love that. Speaking of fluency.
Yeah.
What other everyday English phrases would you have liked to see Marco and Erica cover in this YouTube episode?
Oh, that's a good question. It really depends, I think, on the learner's individual goals and the specific situations they're most likely to encounter.
Right.
But phrases related to travel, dining, shopping, or social interactions, those would be incredibly useful for navigating everyday life.
Oh, for sure. Imagine being able to confidently order food at a restaurant or ask for directions or even just strike up a conversation with someone new.
Yeah.
Those are the moments when language learning really comes alive.
And I think Marco and Erica subtly hinted at this in the episode.
Yeah.
But seeking out authentic resources like other YouTube channels, podcasts, or even TV shows can be a fantastic way to pick up those everyday phrases and immerse yourself in the language.
I love that idea. It's about going beyond those structured lessons and surrounding yourself with the language in a way that feels natural and engaging.
Right. And the beauty of online resources is you can learn at your own pace.
Right.
Rewind, pause, and repeat as needed.
Totally.
It's like having a personal language tutor available 24/7.
It really is.
And let's not forget the value of practicing with native speakers whenever possible.
Oh, that's key.
There's no substitute for real-life conversation when it comes to developing fluency and confidence.
Whether it's finding a language exchange partner online or just chatting with English speakers in your community.
Yeah.
Those interactions are invaluable.
It's all about putting those newly acquired skills into practice.
Exactly.
And seeing how they work in real-world scenarios.
For sure.
And, you know, this whole deep dive has really highlighted the multifaceted nature of language learning. It's not just about memorizing grammar rules or vocabulary lists.
It's about embracing the cultural nuances, the humor, and the real-world applications of language.
I love that.
Precisely. It's about connecting with people, expressing yourself,
Yes.
and expanding your horizons.
So true.
And perhaps most importantly, it's about approaching language learning with a sense of curiosity, a willingness to make mistakes, and most importantly, a sense of joy.
Beautifully said. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder.
Okay.
Think about your own language learning journey.
Whether you're learning English or any other language,
Right.
what are some of the most effective methods you've discovered? What resources have you found most helpful? And how can you make the learning process more enjoyable and engaging for yourself?
Good questions.
Remember, language learning is a lifelong journey.
It is.
Full of challenges and rewards.
Absolutely.
Embrace the journey, celebrate your progress, and never stop exploring the fascinating world of language.